welcome again this week to the Triple C podcast. That is the California Collecting Crew for people who are new to the channel or the podcast itself. Here we are with Rectangular, that's me, with Michael Wisman and Punker Mike. And our guest tonight is the very extraordinary customizer Aaron Williams.
What's going on?
Right, man.
Welcome.
Good to talk to you again. The last time I talked to you, I interviewed you for ACBA Saturday, and you had yet to go to NECA. So now you've been to NECA. That kind of sounds like Mecca. Or NECA for those who prefer acronyms, and tell us about your experience doing work for them.
Well, I went up there, what was it? I think it was January, was when I went up. He asked me to come up, and which I think we had talked about last time, but he asked me to come up and help them, paint some prototypes and some stuff that was going to be on display for Toy Fair, New York. And so that was how it started, and just kind of went from there. But I think everything that I painted that time, well, no, I take that back. There's a few things that haven't come out, but like the Alien Commandos, what was it, Alien 3 Commandos, I painted those while I was up there. The Sigourney Weaver from Aliens 3, I painted her while I was there. So a couple things like that were up on display for Toy Fair. But then I've recently gone back in April. I think I went back and helped them out a little bit more. So
nice. So the samples that you painted, was that just for the show, or were those used for anything else later on?
Yeah, they were for some of the pictures that you've seen. That they did, like that Randy will throw up on Twitter. They were, and they're just prototypes. Actually, I take that back. The Sigourney Weaver, she was molded. That was an actual figure, so it was molded in, what is it? They don't use PVC, or do they? I'm trying to remember now.
Well, it's NECA, so it's
but
probably
it was
glass.
an actual.
Would you say glass?
No, it was an actual figure,
Yeah.
so it wasn't like a prototype, like a resin or anything like that. So
It's fine Chinese porcelain.
Yeah, some of them come out like that. Now, I don't know why, but luckily I have only had maybe 2 NECA figures break on me. And I was always able to fix them, somehow. But yeah, so I want to say it was only 2, maybe 3 at the most that I've had mess up. I see a lot of horror stories though.
I got a grip at NECA figures. I've never had any issues. I even have some of the older ones. I've never had any issues.
Yeah, I had one of the Superman. I think it was Superman that came into Christopher Reeves. His leg. It broke off at the hip, right straight in the crotch area, and I was able to Dremel it out, put a screw in there, and put it back together. He's actually sitting up on the shelf right now. But and then I had actually this alien, dropping everything. Alien, the first Aliens. I actually something broke on that. I think it was his ankle. Head up.
Yeah, the only I don't have a whole lot of NECA figures, but the only one that broke on me, and it was pretty much, it was like the day after I got it, was that Raccoon City figure with that comes with the gas mask.
Oh yeah. Didn't
Yeah.
he have like a pistol strapped on his chest or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah, me and Bob the Odd had the same. Like you were talking about the Christopher Reeve, the crotch, the ball joint, the peg that connects into the hip that snapped up.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. And like I said, I've been lucky. I see a lot of the horror stories, and I don't know. But I also when I pull them out, I put a little heat on them, and I don't usually have any issues with them.
Prep the turkey, man.
Yeah. I mean, you'll have a stuck joint or something like that every once in a while, but that's when the heat comes in, or you might break out the X-Acto knife and kind of, cut away at it. I know a lot of people are, I shouldn't have to do that with a new figure, but that's just, I mean, it's part of the game, I guess.
At least in NECA's defense, you're getting an extremely well sculpted, like they don't, with the exception of maybe like the maybe some of the alien soldiers, like every figure that you get from NECA is like an individual sculpt. It's not like Hasbro or Mattel where they're just kit bashing all the time. Like every figure is an individual sculpt.
Yeah, and people will argue that when it comes to like the Predators, they reuse a lot of the body parts and stuff like that for the Predators.
I forgot about those. Yeah, those are probably the most kit bashed.
Yeah, but I mean that's an exception. I mean, really with everything else, they've always Commando and Dutch. I mean, they used a couple of the like the legs. I mean, of course, the arms, the face. I believe was resculpted, but
Rambo.
Yeah,
but
but yeah, for the most part, like you said, when it compared to Hasbro, I mean, God, how many times have we gotten the Bucky mold?
Yeah. Yeah, and also you're getting, it's a larger scale.
And even Hasbro's stepping the game up now. I mean, like.
Yeah. I mean, you're getting a bigger figure, and a lot of times they're cheaper than Legends. They're like $18, and also they come with really nice accessories. So it's easy to pick on them because of some QC issues, but you're still getting a good value. And most of the time you can contact NECA or take it back to Toys R Us and say, hey, man, this just broke, and you can get it returned. So, as much as we like to bash on them, they're not a bad company.
No, and they're a lot smaller too. I mean, I don't know Hasbro, but Hasbro's got their hand in everything.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not
just Joe.
Yeah, they're not just action figures. I mean, they've got. I mean, doesn't Hasbro do like kid toys and stuff like that too?
Oh yeah,
I mean,
they got those stupid bazonks and all that other crap.
Yeah.
Bazonk, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
Oh man, you don't remember those?
But
nah.
Oh shit, yeah, like you go to SDCC, and and people are at the Hasbro panel like waiting to hear about the Legends, and then they say, okay, we're gonna toss it over to Sally over here, and she has to be the one talking about all the kids' junk for like 15 minutes, and it's all just crap that just sits there on the shelf and nobody ever buys. Like, not even kids want this crap. They're like, they don't have any articulation. It's just like, they're like Weeble Wobbles. Yeah. You guys are probably too young to remember Weeble Wobbles, but that was the crap.
I know what that is.
Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down.
Yeah,
man, they just gave me a childhood flashback there.
Yeah,
Todd Weebled it all.
Fall down.
Todd Weebled from that one, man.
So
you've never been to Michael's house, dude? He's got a detail dedicated to Weebles, man.
Yeah.
So what was it like? Working. I mean, it sounds like it's really small. Maybe like 25 guys that work there at NECA.
Well, you've got there's two separate portions to NECA. There's like the studio portion, which is where all the sculpting, painting, all that stuff goes on. Then you've got the whole warehouse and office side. So the people that are updating Facebook and stuff like that. eBay, Amazon. I believe they've got an Amazon store. But all that good stuff. So the whole business side is in another building, and
Sure.
yeah, so they always kind of make fun. That's the boring side, you know.
Yeah, you got the
This where people
yeah,
actually do work.
creative side and the business side. So as far as the creative team goes, I'm assuming it's not that many guys, maybe 2 dozen.
Yep. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But and I've actually started doing some sculpting, you know, for them now. So um, there's a couple pieces that are in the works. You know
Nice.
that. So
So overall, you've had a very positive experience.
say again.
Said overall, you've had a very positive experience with working with them.
Oh yeah, yeah, and like I don't know if I came through or not. I was saying that I actually have started doing some sculpting for them now, just on some small stuff. But I think people will be excited when it comes out.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
How does that work? Are you just kind of like a
Like a freelancer?
like yeah, freelance?
Yeah, yeah. Basically, right now I'm just freelancing right now, basically.
Huh, that's interesting.
Cool.
So you just
Yeah.
get paid for specific projects.
Right. Like he sent me, you know, we kind of go back and forth through email, and he lets me know what he's thinking about doing, and you know what size he wants it in, and so that's then it's up to me to kind of make sure everything's in proportion when I'm sculpting it, and um, you know, I send them pictures back and forth between Randy and the lead sculptor Kyle Wendricks, and so just in communications with them, you know, Kyle looks at the pictures and makes sure everything looks good, you know, and but yeah, so like I said, I've done a couple things for him so far. I'm in the middle of another project that I need to finish up and get on the ball. But it's coming along pretty good. It's probably about 50, maybe a little bit more. I was going to say halfway through, but probably a little bit more than halfway done.
Cool. So, no, did they discuss maybe getting you on full time, or how's that?
Uh,
How's that
yeah,
process?
not yet. I think they're testing the waters right now, just kind of see what I'm capable of.
Okay.
So like I said, he's given me a couple different projects to work on, and I've sent a couple already, and so yeah, hopefully, you know, we'll see what happens. So hopefully I'm showing them what I'm made of.
So since this is like an official, you know, company and like basically their employees, you know, they have to rely on them. Like if you're not good at sculpting, it's not like, oh, I can't do ears, so none of our figures will have it. So you know they
Right.
rely on that skill. So when you're basically you're kind of just feeling the waters with it and everything. If you are like if there's something that you feel you need to work on, how do you go about improving it?
Um, that's a good question. I've never really thought about it like that. I just work like working on what I'm doing now. I wish I could show pictures and tell you what I'm doing, but like what I'm working on now, I've never sculpted anything like this before. And right now, I mean, it's to me, it's spot on. He seems to be real happy with it with the pictures I've sent him. So it's it's hard to say. Like I've never actually sculpted an actual ear before. You know, I've worked around them and touched them up, but I've never sculpted an ear from scratch on a the side of a figure's head. But
Mm.
it, I don't know. I don't really know how to. It's just something you just kind of do. You know, that's what I've always found. Like when I'm sculpting something, it's like I've never sculpted this before, but I've got all this reference, pictures and angles in front of me. It's, you know, what there's nothing stopping me from sculpting, what I'm looking at, if that
Mm.
makes sense.
Yeah, I get
Kind of
you.
um,
like you dive
to
in head
me, it's a
first and you
lot
kind of grind it out.
easier. yeah, and I mean, if it doesn't look right, you just know what you need to tweak and see what I'm sculpting with now. It's called Castelline, so it's not like a two-part, epoxy like everybody uses the Aves, epoxy sculpt. I don't know if that's showing up, but
Hmm.
um, with that, you've got to mix the two parts together. You've got, an hour's worth of work time, a little bit more, depending on what you're trying to do with it. Um, with the Castelline, it's more like a wax. So yeah, it's heat. You heat it up, you mold it with your finger, and it cools down. Um, I've got the little dust cleaners. And if you hold them
Hmm.
upside down, you can get it'll spray cold and basically freeze things. So you can spray that on it, and it instantly freezes what you were trying to, what was hot, or warm. Um,
Right.
but yeah, it's just like a wax, and I've got these little burners, metal tools that you heat up, and that's what you use to kind of mold with, and so it's it's a lot more forgiving. But you can't
Mhm.
paint over this. It's if it got warm, you could just rub your finger on it and remold it, and so this is something you'd have to actually, you know, sculpt and then make a mold and cast it. And so, but
Mhm. So is this something that you were already looking into, or did NECA introduce you to this process?
um, they introduced me. It was, let me think. It was back in 2014, there just to visit. I just wanted to. I found out that Randy sometimes does tours behind the scenes kind of thing.
Hmm.
So, and me and him were already kind of talking back and forth, Twitter and email every once in a while. Um, but yeah, I went up there, did a studio tour with them, and saw what the guys were working with, and it was this Castelline, and I'm like, oh, what is this? So I instantly, when I came home, went straight and started looking into it, YouTube videos, just websites, stuff like that, and ordered some, and they come in different, like, uh, I guess, like different hardnesses, if that is even a word.
Hmm.
So I've got like a medium and a soft. uh,
Like a
I really
density?
Yeah. So like it doesn't take it, like for the soft wax or the soft Castelline, it doesn't take as much heat to mold it. Then you've got the medium and you've got a hard, which I need to get some hard. Just it'd be better for doing like
We came to
teeth
the
and
right spot,
ears.
I'll tell you that.
Stuff that you could mold with your, because you just holding the pieces, the body heat from your fingers, it'll, you can put indentions or rub over, something that you just sculpted, and so yeah, the hard Castelline would be good for hair, ears, stuff that's protruding off of the figure. So, but yeah, I need to pick up some of that stuff.
Yeah, no, my
And
joke
like I said,
totally.
I've hardly used any of the soft,
Yeah, my joke totally
but
just went off to left field. I was saying you're
yeah.
saying you needed to get hard, and I said, yeah, you came to the right spot, and then just gone, gone in the wind.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, to answer your question, I got off track. My bad. But yeah, to answer your question, I did. NECA, they introduced me to that. I saw what they were working with, and I ordered some. And actually, the first thing that I worked on with that uh, was the Popeye custom that I done.
Oh, nice.
I had actually, yeah. Actually, I had sculpted. Well, here's another piece I forgot I'd done. The first thing I'd sculpted was it was the saddlebag for the Terminator T2 motorcycle.
Mm.
So that's actually Castelline right there.
Oh, tight.
Um, so that was the first thing that I'd say again.
Oh, Bunker Mike was just saying that saddlebag looks really cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's when I lost y'all. But yeah, so that was the first thing. I was like, let me try this stuff out. So that was the first thing I did. Um, and then had to sculpt the. This was for Popeye. It was his can of spinach.
Uh,
So and like I said, that's all Castelline, and it's just it's real forgiving because you can just keep working on it. It's you don't have a time frame to get it done. It was his hat.
so if you hold that hat in your hand for a long period of time, it'll start to break down, or what? Or do you have to like bake it to try to get it to
Hang on,
solidify?
I think I'm losing you again. All right, say again.
Um, that material, like that hat that you have, if you were to like hold that in your hand, if you like cupped it tight in your hand, it would start to break down. It would start to
Yeah,
soften.
yeah, it would start to it actually will turn into it
The ball.
just like wax, like a candle wax. It just kind of it runs down the side of it, and
Hmm.
um, so yeah, I've got like a little tub of it here that I put a lamp over, and
Uh,
it softens it real nice, and that way I can just kind of dip my tool in it and take what I need and just kind of work with it. And like I said, once I get it on whatever I'm sculpting, I'll take that dust can, and spray it upside down, freeze the area, and then you can kind of go in and start, working it with the tools and making whatever shape or whatever you were sculpting.
so it stays solid at room temperature, but if it's above room temperature, then it starts to break down or melt
Soften.
basically.
Yeah, melt basically. Yep.
Wow.
So
Malleable.
So
yeah.
you got to keep your AC on pretty good in there.
Yeah, and like I said, that's why I keep that duster can, and when I'm holding, the object, I've got little pieces of the bubble wrap,
Hmm.
and I'll hold, wrap the piece in that, and just kind of work it, and it just kind of keeps you still get heat from your fingers going through it, but it kind of keeps all the oils and as much heat from getting on it.
Do
I
have
thought I
you
had something else up here.
has anybody tried using aluminum foil,
Um,
or is it
no,
too
I
much
not.
conduct too much heat?
I was gonna say it might conduct too much heat, but yeah, I've never tried that. And usually, I've got all these lights that, so it'd probably blind me working with aluminum foil.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
But yeah, I
But
usually like I've got I've got lights all behind me that's usually on, and I've got well, two are on right now on the table that I'm at, and I've got like six or seven actually sitting on this table. So sometimes I've got them all going, but
yeah, Todd, you're
yeah,
thinking backwards. Aluminum foil will lose heat extremely quickly, but that means it also gains heat quickly. So it would, like when he was holding it, it would be, it would get warm fast, but you let go, it'll get cold fast. So it would not be good
gotcha.
for holding it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sounds like it's still pretty challenging to work. As challenging as epoxy sculpt is, it sounds like that stuff is still pretty challenging to work with.
Yeah, I mean it's still it's sculpting, so it's not like you can just kind of throw it together and it's done, so but it's a lot of it allows you that time to kind of work with it, and if you need to sit it down and walk away for a minute, you're getting frustrated or something, you can sit it down, walk away. You don't have to worry about, oh, I've got to get this before it dries, and
Yeah.
or before it sets up, and um, so yeah, it's
That's cool
I
that you can just reheat it and reshape it because yeah, epoxy sculpt is like, okay, let's set the timer and you screw up, you
yeah.
basically have to restart.
Good luck, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, I've found even with like epoxy sculpt, um, it's it's nice to kind of get some details in there, but I'll usually go back when after it's dried and come in with my X-Acto knife and pick away at certain things. And um, you can actually take your X-Acto knife and kind of slide it along a surface and kind of shave it. So that I use the X-Acto knife like crazy when I'm sculpting with epoxy. With the Aves. Like I said, it just you can get in there with that nice point, and just kind of work it and little designs and stuff like that. But Aves, it's kind of half and half. You work with it when it's soft and get the details in that you need, and then you can come in with some sandpaper and define those details that you already put in. So it's just it's something you got to kind of work with and learn it. And I mean, I'm still learning. Everybody is, in my opinion. Anybody that says that they're a master is they're telling you a story. Because I mean, you're constantly in this kind of work. You're constantly working and practicing and learning, new little skills and new ways of doing something.
Yeah, I'm sure you've probably used something similar. I think it's right side up. I don't have nearly the experience you do, but I use these really cool files. I have they come. I got a set of different shapes. This says HDX, like Hotel Delta X-ray, and these are really useful for it's always better to have, at least in my experience, it's always better to put a little extra sculpt on there and then use these sanding tools to shave stuff off, sand stuff down.
That was the wire from your headsets. There's not a wire attached to the tool, is there, Todd?
No.
Oh, it looked like there's like a wire attached to it. I'm like, damn, what are you, electronic freaking? You got there, bro.
No, it's not ESD, which is electrostatic discharge. Uh-oh.
Oh,
yeah,
dang.
it was an empty can of clear.
Everything was empty.
Yeah. No, I do. I have a few of those files I bought. It was like a little kit that it just kind of came with a bunch of different
Nice.
little files, different tips, and I've got the handle somewhere around here. It's probably on the table behind me. But yeah, they come in handy too, especially for like joints and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just if you're pulling apart the figure and you can kind of use one to work at a joint and get in like knee joints. You've got the knee right there in the center of the two discs, and sometimes they're good for getting real close up to that knee. Just kind of to shave that joint.
All right, so Aaron, we were asking you. I was talking about how in the interview I did with you, we talked about tips for new customizers, and you mentioned just concentrate on getting good at painting. Don't worry about trying to get good at sculpting.
Right.
What other tips do you have as far as like using materials or I was saying, besides those sculpting tools that I just mentioned, or not sculpting tools, sanding files,
Mm-hmm.
And Jin Satomi put together a really good tutorial on his website years ago, and one of the best things I took from that was to get automotive sandpaper, really good for getting into tight areas like joints and stuff.
Right.
Any other suggestions, like what kind of sealer to use, or just like, I don't know, anything that you can think of that a lot of new people may or may not, or even more experienced people might, because you mentioned that whole stuff, that new sculpting material, but
Hmm.
anything else that might be useful for people who are just getting into the game?
Well, when it comes to sealers, what I'll usually use is either the testers. Let me make sure I'm reading it right. It's the spray lacquer, but it's the dull coat, which a lot of people use. Comes in like a little can. It's a little expensive. I'm trying to remember what I paid for it.
It's like $5 for a small.
Yeah, I
can.
was gonna say it's probably $5 or $6 or something like that.
Small, like soda can small? Or
Yeah.
smaller?
Yeah, I was gonna say smaller than that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. How many ounces is this?
You said you're talking sealer, right?
Yeah, this is 3 ounces. So it's a 3-ounce can. But yeah, and then the other sealer that I've also used is it's actually for crafts. It's Patricia. This is what fell off that table earlier. Patricia Nimox. But it's a clear acrylic sealer, and I get the matte. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's empty. So I need to get some more. But yeah, those are the two that I'll use. If I'm gonna spray something through the airbrush, Model Masters also has a clear acrylic, and they've got it in flat. I believe they've got a satin, but I've got a flat and clear. Flat and gloss clear. So if you're gonna spray something through an airbrush, that's good. You can also brush that on. I've used it. Gosh, I'm trying to think of what else I've used, like the stuff on with a brush. I know I've done it, but either way, you can.
Or brush, but it's really milky.
What was that with Model Masters?
Yeah.
See, and that's all I use is Model Master. I've got a couple. I've got this blue Citadel. Every once in a while, I'll pick up something with, I've got a couple like copper and silver in the Tamiya, however you want to pronounce it. But yeah, most everything I use is Model Masters. It's always worked for me. It's durable. I've very rarely had any issues with it. So and I did see the interview you did with Chris Serda.
Chris fucking
I've always said Serda until I saw that video, and I was like, dang, it probably is Serda, isn't it?
That's okay.
But yeah, so but yeah, like he was saying, you got to make sure you get in there. I use little toothpicks, just because if you use like a popsicle stick, I always feel like you end up pulling out more paint than you end up, on the stick.
Mm-hmm.
So I always just use a toothpick and just get in there and stir it up real good and shake it. And sometimes with like the metallics, if it's like a gold or silver, copper, something like that, you'll have to get in there and really stir it and shake it a few times, But yeah, Model Masters always worked for me. I've always used that.
I still have a bunch. I was thinking, number one, I definitely made the mistake of not stirring it, and then I was thinking maybe put a BB or two in there also when you shake it up. That might help.
Yeah, and it probably would. Just like a rattle can, spray can. So yeah, you could drop
a BB. That's a good idea.
Yeah, drop a couple of them in there and probably work real good.
As long as you're not a Hulk and you shatter the glass because BB is rattling so hard. So yeah, as far as primer goes, I haven't tried it yet. John Papasergio turned me on to this Tamiya fine surface primer for plastics and metal.
Cool.
And comes in light gray. It's 180 milliliters, so I don't know what that is in the English system, but
Yeah.
it's a pretty small can. It's like when I was in Korea, that's like the standard size of a Coke can. They don't drink nearly as much
Wow.
soda. So you can pretty much wrap your. It's probably about the width of the bottom of a baseball bat, and it's only about 6 inches tall.
Gotcha.
But he swears by it, so I'm looking forward to trying that. I bought it primarily to paint the wings on that Masters of the Universe Classics. Swiftwind.
Okay.
So I want to primer those gray and then dry brush white on top of it, so my Valkyrie will have a horse to ride on it.
Sweet.
I was gonna say I didn't know you fucked with Motu, Todd.
No, I don't.
I was like, dude, where was all that talk when Dave Johnson was on?
No, I definitely. I have a couple of heads to use for kit bashes. They have some pretty cool sculpts, like monster sculpts. They have like the Snake Man and a few others, but yeah, those extra beefy arms and everything. I can't get behind that. Those figures are totally beefing it.
Too much steak for you?
That's too much steak, man.
Todd's more of a Skeletor.
I do know, back to the clear, I have used Krylon before. Krylon, matte clear, and that's worked really good too.
I'm always really hesitant whenever you get stuff like from Kmart or an automotive shop, any kind of traditional type of spray paints that the propellants that are in it will eat plastic.
Right.
I'm always really scared about that, so it's like I want to go with more of this model, anything that's made specifically for models. I kind of lean towards that, but I do have some clear. I don't know if it's Krylon, but it's one of those companies. Sealer that I used on something. I can't remember. Oh, I think it was it was the guns that I painted for Michael. That grenade launcher I sent you, Michael.
Also, all that clear cement that's like half an inch thick coating your paint job.
Pretty much, but it's works, right? I mean, none of the paints come off, right?
Yeah. I would say the only downside, and it probably is not that. It was probably everything combined. Was they feel a little bit gritty, only because there's so much stuff on it.
Yeah.
So, but again, that's for pictures. That's not a bad thing at all.
Yeah, it's like nobody cares about what it feels like. Does it look
right? Good? There's no paint rub because you can't get to the paint through all the coating.
Exactly. Yeah, and I probably went heavy-handed, but it's it's kind of like it's better safe than sorry.
And I'll tell you another thing, which I think, now that I think about it, Chris might have mentioned it too in his interview. If you paint, I've noticed, like if you clear, like rattle can clear something, if you spray it outside and then bring it inside, or vice versa, if you spray it inside and bring it out, I've always noticed that the finish always, it almost like doesn't dry. It almost will stay kind of tacky sometimes. So usually, like if I spray something inside, I'll make sure I don't bring it outside until it is dry. Same, if I end up taking it outside and spraying it, I'll leave it out there for a good 20 minutes, half hour, or something like that. But yeah, I don't know if it's a difference in temperature, going from hot outside to cool inside or whatnot. But it always seems the clear never seems to dry completely. It seems like. So
might have something to do with the humidity as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So yeah,
and around here we have so much pollen that
yeah.
I'd be hesitant to leave anything outside for any period of time.
Yeah. Well, see, luckily I've got a garage, so I'll just come out here and I'll spray it, near the door and I'll open the garage door or whatever and spray it and let it just sit there. But yeah, yeah. If it's real polleny outside, end up having a gold dust figure.
One technique that I learned from Solid Snake that I've never tried, but I thought sounded like a really good idea, and I think he might have got it from what the hell's that guy's name? Michael, the guy in the Bay Area,
The what? What do you mean?
the customizer that we like a lot in the Bay Area. That Solid
Raybot?
does. Raybot, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think Solid learned this technique from Raybot is to when you're done painting your figure, like just as it starts to dry, or it's dry right as it starts to dry indoors, take it outside in the sun and let it bake for several hours,
Got you.
and that kind of just really hardens the paint onto the figure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he did that with the custom Arnim Zola that I got from him from my birthday, and it's held up really well. I mean, I don't really mess with the figure, but it did. The paint did chip there on the elbow. I noticed before I took the figure to Michael's house and showed it to everybody.
Mm.
Before Michael ruined it.
It's all your fault.
Todd was like, "It's paint rub free," and I was like, "Not today, motherfucker."
Not if I got anything to do with it.
It doesn't. I'm very. I mean, I've only really done that with that Giant Man custom, but and it wasn't a big deal because the figure was going to be red anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I really went the extra mile to avoid paint rub as much as possible, and I just sanded the shit out of all the joints. And I don't know, that to me, I feel like a lot of customizers skimp on that. I think you can definitely tell the ones that really go the extra mile. It's better to pay a little more. I know a lot of people give Anthony's Customs a rash of shit for how much he charges.
Right.
But I've talked to our friend Chimpunkas, and he's bought several from Anthony's Customs, and he said that never had any paint rub issues. That he's very focused on prepping the figure.
Gotcha. Yeah. And it really does. The outcome. It show usually you can tell if somebody painted sanded the joints, did any kind of thing, preparation like that, because usually their final pictures, they're all in the same pose. They never, they'll post 6 pictures, but they're all, in a static same pose.
Right.
And usually it's like, all right, you probably didn't, prep all those joints, and as soon as you move them, they're gonna, or they probably already moved them, and they're like, let's just leave them like this,
Yeah.
So yeah, you can usually tell, and I mean some people, they'll post up pictures and you can still see green showing through, and it's almost like they don't care, but
Yeah.
you'll that's a Hulk elbow.
Yeah, there's a few people who buy really cheap peg warmers like Blizzard, and they'll make 20 different characters out of that buck.
Mm-hmm.
But I would rather spend a little more, because I like to do kit bashes, and I would rather buy 3 or 4 figures to get so that the the parts are the plastic, or the right color plastic
Right.
right out of the bat. So like, I saw somebody. Oh, it was Daniel Barajas. He did a cool kit bash for Adam Warlock, and I think he used the Black Ant from the Walgreens exclusive Ant-Man
Gotcha.
as the base, and then he took the limbs from the Scarlet Spider, and I thought that was a great idea. But he had to find a different crotch because the crotch on the Ant-Man is red.
Gotcha.
So what I did is Diego, who the ghost of the DMC is out somewhere. He's here somewhere. He had a Ultimate Venom that was missing the hands, so I bought that from him. And I have a Crimson Spider coming in the mail.
Man, you're all over the place. It's Superior Venom and Scarlet Spider.
What did I say?
You must have got the bootlegs. You got the Crimson Spider and the Ultimo Venom.
Yeah. Superior Venom and Scarlet Spider, right?
There you go.
Todd doesn't use Tester's spray. He uses Taster's spray.
Taster's choice. So I just have to remove the white paint off of the Venom, and then swap out the limbs, and I'll have a perfect base.
You have your bootleg Adam Sorcerer.
Exactly. Those are like that way I don't have to worry about paint rub.
Right. And I've done that, with a few of my customers as well. Just, it's like, oh, it'd be better just to use, this base because it's all black, and you won't have to worry about when you lift the leg, and it hitting that crotch piece, like the hip area. You won't have to worry about, paint rub if you're working on a black, character or something like that. Not a black character, but a black suited character.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
And the way Hasbro, like Michael Wisman was, when I was telling him about doing this kit bash, he's like, yeah, watch, they're gonna at SDCC they're gonna announce a new Adam Warlock using that same recipe. I was like, yeah, that'll probably happen.
Yeah.
Hasbro's cranking out these legends so furiously that we can't even keep up.
Oh, I know. I still haven't seen the Civil War wave. I went to a Walmart. Was it last week? It was either last week or the week before, and they still had just a ton of the what was it? The Odin wave. And it's like, what in the world? So I'm looking around, and I'm, it was seriously probably like 7 pegs full of the Odin wave. And I look up on the top shelf, and there's even more sitting up there. So I started, I climbed up and started kind of shifting through them. And sure enough, in the far back, there was an Iron Man from the Civil War wave, and that was all that they had. So I snatched that up. So that's the only one that I've been able to find so far.
Yeah, I think we probably discussed this, and I think when I was on the ACBA podcast, I discussed that it's going to be starting with the Civil War wave, and for the rest of the year, you're going to have a really hard time finding these new waves at retail because big box chains like Target, Toys R Us, Walmart, Kmart, they have so much inventory still of all these old waves that they refuse to order anything new until they get rid of all that stuff.
Yeah, and even if they've got it in the back, they're not going to put it on the pegs until, there's room.
Exactly.
So, yeah, and it's like I go in there and there's like, I couldn't tell you how many Hawkeyes I've seen. They're everywhere over here. And so it's like, come on, bring on the new wave. But like you said, it's, somebody's got to buy them or they got to go on sale or something.
Yeah, and it's funny that like my Kmart has the Spider-Man. They just got the Rhino wave like about a month ago, and and they're charging $25 a piece for them.
Wow.
So that
Comma.
Plus
Yeah,
tax, dude. That's almost $30.
Yep, 25 plus tax.
Like 27, almost $28. That's crazy.
What is this,
Yeah.
Canada?
Exactly. So how is it toy hunting out in your neck of the woods there?
Well, right now I'm usually able to find, everything I'm looking for, at some point. But right now it's just things are slow. Like I've got 3 Toys R Us's probably within 35, 40 minutes, of where I live.
We should
And,
say you live in Virginia, right?
Right, yeah, right. I'm in Richmond, and yeah, so and all 3 of them, I still haven't seen like for NECA, I haven't seen the God of War, the Kratos figure.
Is that a pretty heavily distributed figure, or did they make a limited quantity?
I thought it was a fairly, I figured it was anything, like any of their other waves,
I'm pretty sure that's how it is.
Yeah, I don't think that was any kind of limited run or anything. Not that I've heard or know of, but
Sounds
yeah.
pretty expensive to make. I mean, it has like a lot of accessories and stuff, right?
Yeah, that one comes with like his blades. Doesn't it come with like a back strap to actually store his blades or something like that?
Punker Mike might know, but
Yeah.
I didn't pick up the figure. I did check it out. Yeah, it seems you get a lot of bang for your buck with that figure. I don't have any investment in that video game or the character, but I almost just bought it just because how cool he looked and how much shit you get.
Yeah.
Just detail, paint, accessories, everything for under $25.
wow.
Yeah, and I want to get one and sculpt, the beard, for the new game that just came out. Or not, it hadn't come out yet, but they just released, video footage or gameplay or whatever. But he's like an old man now in the new game that's coming out, and he's got a full blown beard, but he's still got all the same tattoos and all that good stuff. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to sculpt a beard on him. I haven't seen anybody do that yet, but
So that's a little insider thing that you can only get here on the Triple C podcast, is that NECA does not have a plan to make that bearded version of the character.
well, not that I know of. I mean, they might, but
Yeah.
No, it's official now. You let it out.
As of right now.
Channel.
honestly,
Todd's doing a video right now.
Randy, he's always got something in the works. So I wouldn't be surprised if they came out with one. But it's just he always pulls something out of his sleeve, and so I mean, like you see a lot of people, they're talking about the Turtles, the movie Henson Turtles. They're coming in 18-inch, but everybody wants a 7-inch, and I mean, I'd love a 7-inch too. That's more my scale. I mean, I've got a few of the 18-inch figures, and I've got a few Hot Toys and Sideshow stuff, but
Those fuckers would sell non-stop. You couldn't keep those on the shelves, pre-order, nothing.
nah, those things, they'd be gone in a second, man.
NECA guy's got 30 seconds.
But hopefully he does something. I mean, he always surprises us. When it comes to the Christopher Reeves, Adam West, Michael Keaton, Heath Ledger. All of those started out 18-inch, and we'll see what happens. I'd love to see them come out because they would definitely be on my shelf, and I'd probably have another set hanging on the wall or something.
Hell yeah.
If you can put a bug in Randy's ear, one of the things that would help us collectors out a huge amount, at least us Marvel Legends collectors, is for MSD, which is a term in ACBA, stands for multi-scale display. See if he can make a movie NECA Ant-Man or Giant Man you know, the one that just came out in the Build-A-Figure wave.
Yeah.
At 18 inches.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, see, that's money right there. You just print money with the figure.
That would be sweet.
Or even, I mean, I guess he can't get comic book licenses, but anything that we can use for MSD. Like I saw somebody use the I guess the 12-inch Spider-Man that just came out with a with like an Ant-Man figure.
I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, stuff like that. You know, that's money sitting there waiting for them to grab. Anytime that we can do MSD with those type of figures, that's
or even Linda Carter.
Yeah, I'll mention that to him.
Linda Carter, just for Todd.
Yeah, just for Todd. Do that Linda Carter.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm still, you know, working on building the Ant-Man Build-A-Figure, and I've got everything else. You know, I've got the Marvel Universe scale. I've got some of the little accessories. You know, the little statued Ant-Mans, and so I got the Marvel Legend, the Select. I need to get that Build-A-Figure, you know, so I can get the next scale up, and that's how he's displayed on my shelf. I've got them like each one is in a different running pose, you know, and one in front of the other, so it looks like he's just slowly, you know, getting smaller down the shelf.
Yeah, that's why I did that custom of mine, because I wanted something in between the 8-inch and the 14-inch Build-A-Figure, the 12-inch, and I even have the Eagle Moss. You know, it's a lead figure.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I can do that whole, you know, transformation to display that everybody wants to do.
Yeah, I actually I took the smallest Ant-Man. See, I can't remember. One Ant-Man came with. Dang, I'm trying to remember. One of them came with like a small, you know, fly or ant or whatever, but I've got an even smaller one, and I can't remember if he must have been like a little accessory, you know, in another Marvel Legend. But anyways, I've got him sitting in one of my hot toys, the Mechanic, Tony Stark.
Oh, cool.
I've got him sitting in his hands, you know, and he's like kind of looking at them, and but you can flip it. He's wearing the gauntlet, so you can flip the light on and kind of put the light on Ant-Man as he's sitting in his hand, his palm or whatever.
Nice.
But, yeah, it's like I said, I still need to find that Ant-Man wave, and I know the hardest one, you know, Black Panther. I'll probably never finish it, Ant-Man, because I won't find him.
Yeah.
Give it like maybe like 2 more months, because
the
pieces are supposedly coming. You know, you get 2 of him, and actually there's cases now where it's just 8 Black Panthers in a case.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. I didn't know that.
Yeah, one of the trading groups, or just, you know, collecting groups, I saw somebody post a picture of, I think it was Target, might have been Walmart, but there was like 8 Black Panthers just sitting on the shelf.
Wow.
So they must be getting full cases now. One of the retail stores is. Maybe it was Toys R Us, I don't know. But, yeah, they're going to be, definitely check Facebook, because there's going to be a lot of people that are, you know, they just want to flip them for, you know, whatever, a quick couple bucks.
Right.
So you can probably, you know, get it for like 25 shipped or less. So.
True. Yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye out for them.
Yeah. Michael, did you have any other questions?
You know, really, I think it's just kind of, you know, a fart in the wind, but about the whole Randy's ear thing. But it would be cool to see NECA kind of wrestle the rights away from, I think, Mezco for Hellboy stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Ooh, that'd be tight.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I finally, I think in a couple episodes I've said it now, but I finally, like, started reading the Hellboy comics, and I've always liked the movies, but Hellboy is fucking cool, and those figures are bullshit prices and kind of outdated anyways. So and I think NECA would just, they would crush it with like Hellboy type,
Oh
sculpt.
yeah.
Are they really coming out with a new movie, or is that just kind of hearsay right now?
They've been coming out with Hellboy 3 for like since the day after Hellboy 2. So don't hold your breath until you see the movie poster, at your local movie theater.
See, and I wonder if Mezco even has the license any longer. I mean, because I know, like with NECA, usually I know that he usually says that the licenses will last about 3 years before they have to either renew or not, depending on sales of the figures and all. But so I wonder if Mezco even has the license anymore. It might be up for grabs possibly. So
that should be tight.
That would be sweet.
I think NECA would knock it out of the park with those figures for sure.
Especially with all the new articulation that they're doing,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Heroes of the Storm. I've been getting the World of Warcraft related figures, and they've been great. They've been like awesome.
Yeah, I've got I don't know any of their names, but I've got the big monster,
Stitches.
looking Stitches. So I've got him, and then I've got the two kind of medieval knight looking guys. One of them doesn't have a head; it's just like an open hood.
Tyrael.
Gotcha. And then there was another one. Like I said, I picked them up just because they were cool designs. I was like, man, they just look sweet. But I've never played any of those games.
Yeah, well, that line is like 3 or 4 different games. So, like, if you bought every figure from that line, you wouldn't know everybody because it's all different stuff. So I just get the World of Warcraft related characters, which I think there's only been 3, maybe 4 of.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I know that they are working on more, those figures.
Mm-hmm.
I saw one of them in the works. So back when I was in the studio, and so
cool.
Yeah, I'm don't know when I'm going back, but I'm excited to go back just because like when you go, you get to see all the. It's like, ooh, what's new? That hasn't been discussed yet. Nobody knows, and so just see what all is being worked on, and usually they've got a table that's filled with stuff that's already finished, and so yeah, you just kind of go in there and gawk at everything.
Hopefully, no more Weird Al.
I mean, I get what people are saying, like why Weird Al, but honestly, like it's a cool figure. I got to play with it, when I was up there, and it's a neat figure, and it's just like one of those things. It's kind of like it's like why did they do Freddie Mercury? The SH Figuarts. It kind of came out of nowhere. It's like, why'd they do Freddie Mercury, from Queen, or Michael Jackson, but everybody loved those figures, and, you see people doing pictures with them, and so people will find a way to use them.
Yeah. I know those checkered Vans he comes with are sick.
What? The what?
He comes with little checkered Vans. Hell yeah.
These little loafers.
Hell yeah. The Spicolis, those shits are tight.
Yeah, they are cool. But, yeah, and they got, well, they showed George Carlin, from Bill and Ted. Yeah. So that was kind of cool. Trying to think. I mean, there's stuff there that I just can't mention, but I don't
How much cool swag did you get, like free figures or anything?
Oh gosh, I got all kinds of stuff, man. He gave me. I've gotten a. Oh, what was his name? Mutavor, or however you pronounce it, from the Pacific Rim. One of the monsters, the kaiju's.
Like a really big one?
Yeah, yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it's like a $50 figure or something like that. I actually got Stitches, which was like a $45 figure.
Damn.
Yeah, so he gave me Stitches, and he hooked me up with I'm trying to think what else he
Business
hooked me
card.
up. What's that?
A business card.
No.
He autographed the back for me.
Yeah. Well,
That Pacific Rim is that 18-inch figure?
No, this was the it's in the normal 8-inch, 1/10 scale, but it comes in like a big box, and it's just an oversized monster, so they're not 8 inches, but they're in that scale, that 1/10 scale.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah, he came with like a stand and all that good stuff, and I actually ended up giving that to a buddy of mine that I used to work with, because he collects that whole line, so I hooked him up with that. But yeah, it's just whatever had come out at the time. I think I'd gotten a couple of the Terminator figures from him, so I tried not to be too greedy with it. I mean, I could have been like, oh yeah, I'll take this and that, but yeah, I didn't take too much from him. I was just like, whatever you throw my way, I'll take. But
yeah, you have to sit tight until some new crazy stuff comes out, and then you'd be like, oh wait, I want that.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Cool.
it's cool. I mean, like I said, right now it's just freelance, and hopefully it goes to something more. But right now I think he's just kind of testing the waters, seeing what I'm capable of, and each time that I've gone up there, I've helped him paint some prototypes, and like I painted the prototype for the Donatello, the Henson Turtle 18-inch. It was actually a 12-inch prototype that I was painting, but that was getting sent to China as a paint master. So what comes out in stores, will be based off of what I painted, for China. So
That's so cool.
yeah,
awesome.
and like, I mean, I was looking at a figure that he had already, one of the other painters had already painted, so, but that was a prototype that stays in the studio. So they had another one that gets sent to China for paint master, and they just needed somebody to paint it. So, but yeah, so that was one of the things that I did last time I went up there.
That's badass. Then down the road when you're an old man, you can say, we show your kids like, technically I painted that.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll get my name on a box, packaging or something like that sometime. But hopefully with some of these, original sculpts that I've been doing for them, so hopefully I'll see something like that. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, I guess anybody could say that they did something, but I want to have that name, so it actually signifies that I did something for them.
Exactly.
Nobody will believe me.
What else besides NECA are you excited that's coming out, or it's been announced that's coming out this year?
Oh gosh, well, I'm excited. I don't know if any of y'all jumped on. It was the Kickstarter for the dinosaur Kickstarter.
Oh yeah,
what was it? Beasts of the Mesozoic or something like. I can't remember the name of them, but it's actually one of the Dave Silva, one of the sculptors at NECA.
Mm.
So I got a couple of those from him. I'm waiting for him to finish up the prototypes so I can kind of pick which one I want. But
Cool.
I'm excited for those. Of course, I'm excited for the articulated icons. I hope they come out soon. Trying to think what else has been announced.
Yeah, just to piggyback on what on what you just said, the interview that Fabio did should be dropping before this podcast airs.
Uh-huh.
And Fabio, or the Articulate Icons guys, said fourth quarter of this year.
Oh, okay. Well,
So-
not too much longer.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be when they initially said.
No, it seemed way too soon. What was it, like April or May or something
Yeah,
like
I
that?
think they said May initially.
Yeah. And I was like, geez, that's real soon.
Yeah, I knew that. Being that this was their first time doing it, that it was probably going to take, like a year.
Right.
Which is fine. I'd rather have better quality stuff than have buyer's remorse.
Yeah, true. And it's kind of cool too because you kind of forget about them, and
Yeah.
I mean for a period, and then something comes up, you think about them, like right now, but come tomorrow you won't think about them for another week or two, and but yeah, the day will come and then, oh yeah, I forgot I got those.
Yeah, I bought a bunch of stuff to work on some diodes, so that gives me some time, and I might have to hit up Punker Mike for some commissions.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
Make me some dojos, bitch.
I know, dude. I was actually thinking about that. Because I have so many shots in mind already lined up. And, yeah, I need to get on making some dojos. Because the only thing I have is just that little diner. Or not little diner, but that one I made for the entry.
Mm-hmm. Well, you made like 3 different setups for that, 3 different diodes for that your final round entry.
Yeah, one of them was only like an official one. All the other ones are kind of like makeshift. Or the only other one was like magnetized. That I kind of made like that little like I don't even know what to call it right now, but where he was eating and everything.
Yeah, tavern.
Yeah, like a tavern, exactly. Everything else was kind of just makeshift. But yeah, I was like, oh, I need to make like an official dojo, like freaking Chinese Connection, where he slides in there and goes in the dojo, like dojo like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been trying to build, getting a lot of related figures that I can use with my AI guys, so I'm pretty set as far as that goes, but yeah, when it comes to diorama stuff, I still have a lot of catching up to do. Yeah, Michael had to step out because he's got family over that want to use the internet, so.
Oh, gotcha.
And Diego is occupied.
Doghouse?
Yeah, he's in the doghouse. DMC in the doghouse.
Yeah, but definitely I gotta come up with I want to make like one really big dojo.
Yeah, I really like your dio work, man.
Right now
Yeah.
I'm building one for Michael Amsberg, like a kind of wrestling related one that I've been taking forever. But once I finish that one, that's when I'm gonna make like an actual big one for myself.
Cool.
Nice.
So that's gonna be tight.
Well, put me in first in line for a commission if I can't come up with something good myself.
Yeah, just gotta show me reference pictures.
Oh yeah.
I was like, shoot, I'll send you a file with 100 pictures right now.
Oh yeah. I got somebody working on a dio for me now, and I have just in general for different diorama ideas, I have a couple hundred reference photos.
Okay,
saved.
I don't want that. That's gnarly.
Yeah, just for different ideas, for different wall designs or door designs or.
Yeah, I got you. Like kind of like a little thing from every picture, like cut and paste from every little picture.
Yeah. So, Aaron, do you take commissions for customs?
No, not at the moment. Just right now, just trying to concentrate on the work with NECA. I just
Have you taken commissions in the past?
Yeah. That's pretty much everything that you've ever seen me post was a commission. Um,
Except, oh wait, I can't remember. Was Popeye was just for yourself, wasn't it?
yeah. I did a Popeye for myself. I did a dark Hawkeye with interchangeable heads. I used the two bullseye variant heads. Um, Took them and just resculpted them, with the wings and all that stuff, the Hawkeye mask and all. So yeah, so that one I did for myself. I've done. Um, I'm looking at my shelf. What I've got over. Oh, I did. I've got a Deadpool that I did out of a Figma body. It was the Cobra, Space
This,
Cobra, or something like that.
oh, it wasn't the snake, huh?
No. Yeah, I did this. She's probably back in 2014. Um, yeah, it was. He had a red suit on. It was like a Cobra,
Yeah,
Space Cobra, or something like that.
yeah, that figure
Um,
goes for money now.
yeah, and he he wasn't cheap when I bought him either. But that was the only reason I bought him. I was like, this is gonna be a Deadpool. So
Okay.
yeah, so I did that. I've got another Deadpool that I used, the Toy Biz Black Panther.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so I used that body, swapped out the arms, well, the lower arms, swapped out the boots, um, and did some resculpting on them and all that good stuff. So yeah, I've only done a couple, like a select few for myself. Everything else was commission work.
Yeah,
How? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you have one thing that's on your list that once you have free time and you have the motivation that you want to make for yourself that has to go in your collection?
Uh, I'd love to make a Goliath from Gargoyles, the old cartoon.
Wishman
Uh,
left. He just left. He loves gargoyles. He talks about
oh,
that shit
really?
tough.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do one. Gosh, before I did Popeye last year, um, but I just never have gotten around to it, and I think about it every once in a while, but yeah, I'd love to do that, and I don't know, I get little ideas every once in a while. It's just like, oh, that'd be kind of cool, but I just don't have the time to do it. I mean, I have the time, but it's after sculpting on something for NECA. It's just kind of like, let me just sit back and relax.
Yeah, your creativity gets tapped, and you're just like,
Yeah, and it's just like, I there's been times I just lock myself in my room and just, I mean, not really lock myself, but you know what I mean. I get in here and just, lose track of time because I'm just working on all this different stuff, and you know, you start going kind of crazy.
yeah, definitely.
Because it's just you got to take a step back and just let me chill for a little bit. So I've stopped taking commissions just because I know. I mean, I still get people asking me all the time, "Hey, could you do this, or do you have time to make this?" And it's like, nah, I can't do it.
Mhm.
Because then at the same time, I feel like I could be in that time that I'm working on a commission for somebody else, I could be working on the project that I'm working on for NECA and getting that closer to being finished. And so it's just it's just too much sometimes. So I just took a step back from that just for the time being.
Yeah, I think with any creative endeavor, um, once it kind of becomes a job, you don't want to do it. You know,
Right.
you need to like do something else. When you like if you're, let's say if you're a mechanic and you spend all day working on cars, when you get home, it's like you don't want to work on your own car. Just like I need to do something different.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's another thing. When it comes to commissions, I mean, people come. They'll come to you with good ideas, but at the same time, it just may not be something that you really feel like working on.
Yeah.
And that's another, if you're just constantly working on something for somebody else, doing something that, I mean, it's I love sculpting and I love painting, but if you're painting something that you just could care less about, you just kind of start losing motivation. So it like I say, you take a step back a little bit and just kind of focus on one thing instead of so many other commissions and all that. It's like I still got some stuff for David Walton. He sent me some figures a while back, to kind of start working on, and I have, but it's just after sculpting, for NECA, it's like I don't want to sculpt on anything else right now, Yeah. So, I mean, and we've been in talks, and he knows, so he's like, man, take your time, and I don't want you to rush it, because if you rush it, then it may not turn out how you wanted it to, and so. Yeah, just kind of letting them sit for a second, and I'll get to them soon. But
yeah, it's probably the best approach. It's like, with anything, burnout is never good.
Yeah, and I mean, I've gotten burnout. I mean, not right now, but there was a time period where it was just like it was just too much. It was all I was thinking about. I had so many people coming to me with commission, requests, or how much would you charge for this, or, then you get people coming to you, how did you paint this, and what's a good approach at doing this, and how would you sculpt that? It gets overwhelming, and it's just like, oh my God. But like I said, it's just that's all you can think about, and it kind of starts taking over. So, yeah, I did. I got burnt out for a little period there. Just kind of had to step away from it.
I don't remember if Hunker Mike already asked you this question, but what figures, like if a company would make something that you really want to see made, what would it be? I don't know how. It sounds like you're pretty big into Marvel Legends.
Yeah, I've got a lot of, well, I wouldn't say a lot of Marvel Legends, but, gosh, I don't know what I mean, they're making Deadpool. Well, they made Deadpool. The new Wolverine looks awesome, so, I can't say a Wolverine.
And Hasbro is going to do so many repaints on that figure, which is good. They need to replace a lot of those older figures, those different costumes that he's appeared in.
You mean Wolverine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to use that new body mold is going to get a lot of use.
Yeah. Gosh, I don't know. I don't know what I would want.
What characters are you most into, like either from Marvel Comics or DC or?
I'm more into Marvel. I mean, of course, I love Batman and the Joker. I would love to see a 7-inch or 6-inch Nicholson. I say that all the time. Yeah, and NECA, they just can't do it because Nicholson, he wants so much money for his likeness.
I bet.
Yeah, and NECA, they just it would be pointless. They wouldn't make their money back in sales for the price that he wants for his likeness, is the way it's been put, to me to explain it. But I've often thought about, making one. I've got a few ideas for one, so that might be the best way to do it, just make it myself.
Yeah.
But
yeah, if you can find a casting person who can cast the heads from the Hot Toys one.
Yeah, true. which I did look into that a while back. It was when I had just gotten the Mime Joker, the Hot Toys.
Nice.
And God, I'm trying to remember who I had contacted.
Hit up Dave Castle.
What's that?
Hit up Dave Castle.
Yeah, I might have to hit him up. But yeah, it's been 2 years ago that I messaged this guy, and I can't remember who it was that I messaged. But he said he could do it. You know, he could shrink it down, and so yeah, I might try something like that. I thought it'd be kind of cool to try sculpting it myself, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, as long as you don't get sued by Nicholson.
Yeah. Well, somebody had done one. I'm trying to remember who did it a while back. Well, I guess as long as it's not mass produced, you know, you're good. I don't think you can, you know, if you're not like making an income off.
Yeah, especially if you're just making it for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think as long as it's not mass produced and stuff like that, you're good. But yeah, somebody had made one. I'm trying to remember who it was a while back. But he had just tried to, you know, sculpt the face himself. And
so as far as Marvel characters, who'd you really like to see who may or may never get made?
I would really like to see a nice Gambit.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, I mean, there's been plenty of customs made, you know, but I'd like to see him make a nice Gambit. That would be pretty cool. Geez, even if they just did like the whole, you know, like the original X-Men lineup, you know, that would be, you know, like a more updated Colossus, you know, something that looks more kind of like the Marvel Select version. You know, they did that with his old get up.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I think that would be really cool. But they haven't done a Gambit yet, so I'd like to see that.
Yeah, hopefully not that horrible old Nick Fury coat.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we haven't seen that in a little while, have we? It's time to bring it back.
Oh, retire that bitch. Fuck.
Yeah, it was like every wave for a period there. I mean, somebody had that jacket on.
Yeah. Thank goodness this new Punisher is jacket free.
Yeah.
Finally.
Now that hasn't dropped yet, has it?
Technically,
or is that showing up in stores?
No.
Not here.
The ones that people have in hand right now, they ordered from Japan. So
I remember seeing somebody posted that there was a review up for it or something like that. And
yeah, there's a couple reviews up for it. They got it from Japan for whatever reason. For whatever reason, a couple of resellers in Japan got their orders, you know, before Walgreens. So we'll probably see it. I would say probably first week of September. I guess at the well. That's optimistic. I would imagine there's probably going to be around then, which is about 6 weeks from now.
Yeah, I'll have to pick that one up for sure.
Did you pick up the new Namor?
No, I haven't seen him yet around here either.
Yeah, he should be pretty easy to find. My store, I was the only person to buy. I bought 2, and so they still have like 6 on the pegs at my store.
Oh, cool. And see, I go to Walgreens fairly regular. I also collect Hot Wheels and, you know, die-cast cars and stuff like that. Just, you know, certain ones. And a lot of times, Walgreens, they've got, in that toy section, they'll have a little peg that's got some Hot Wheels on it, and you can find some cool stuff every once in a while. So, but yeah, I still haven't seen Namor yet.
Yeah, and he's, as far as I know, he's still available on Walgreens.com. So you might want to pull the trigger on that if you can't find him locally.
Yeah, sure.
Bunker Mike, you got any questions? Jesus, that was a gunshot.
Yeah, I just got shot. No. Oh yeah, I was gonna kind of ask. So does the guys that you work with at NECA, do they kind of know that you're in kind of like the niche group of like the toy collecting community, like part of ACBA and everything like that?
Yeah, and I've talked to them a little bit about ACBA. None of them had heard of it, and I was like, oh yeah, I was like, oh man, I was like, that's that's where all the basically where all the toy photography action poses was based from. It's like that's where it all started. But yeah, I've told them they ought to check out the page and see what some of the stuff is going on, and I don't know if any of them have or not. But yeah, last time I was up there, we were talking about it, and they had no idea. They had never heard of ACBA before. What's that stand for?
Damn, that's gonna crush Fabio.
Yeah, they had no idea. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, Fabio's gonna be heartbroken that Randy doesn't know him by name.
Yeah.
His #1 fanboy. Yeah, that's surprising because I think a lot of us, I think Michael has hit on this several times, is we get the impression that a lot of these companies are getting not necessarily ideas, but they are hearing or seeing what's going on in ACBA, like with like Hasbro putting a lot more effects pieces, like Tamashi type style effects,
right,
in there with the figures, packing those in.
Well, like the Civil War Iron Man, he came with those repulsor blasts,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. But see, I think what it is, and see, NECA and Randy, I mean, they see toy photography pics all the time. I mean, they get on Twitter, people are sharing pictures all the time. But I think a lot of the times, with like Instagram, people put so many hashtags. They can hashtag Hasbro, they can hashtag NECA Toys, then they can hashtag ACBA or toy photography, but so NECA and Hasbro, they're seeing these pictures, but I don't know, like I said, they're not necessarily knowing what it is, you know what I mean? Like that it's an actual toy community called Articulated Comic Book, so I think that's why he had never heard of it, and he's seeing all these pictures that are getting tagged, but he's not seeing what other tags are there. So
yeah, I think Boog needs to interview him next time he's at New York Toy Fair.
I think Boog needs to send you some free shirts, bro. Start repping it in the factory.
There you go.
The studio.
Yep.
That's right there.
Yeah, I need to definitely talk to him about the Ant-Man though.
Yeah.
Doing an 18-inch Ant-Man, that would definitely be awesome.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, have they done any kind of Marvel movie figures licenses?
No, and I'm trying to think. Well, they've done the Mark, the Iron Mans.
There you go.
Then do a big ass Hulk too, or no?
Yeah, they did Hulk, which isn't out yet, I don't think.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think.
So,
but yeah, they've done a couple Iron Mans and Captain America, Thor.
There you go.
So,
So theoretically, it could be done.
Yeah.
Because I remember seeing that interview. I think it was probably Toy Fair or something. Randy was like really jazzed on that giant ass Hulk.
Yeah. And it is. It's cool. It's cool in person. I know that at that time they were having some issues with the licensing on the pants. I think there were some issues going back and forth with the color of the pants and the trim of the pants and different things like that. So yeah, I think there were. If I remember right, I think he had a little sign that said licensing approval or so whatever, however they word it.
Yeah.
Or waiting approval or something like that.
Yeah, you got to keep the lawyers at bay.
Yeah. Still waiting from NECA for the Cinemachines. They had done the Cinemachines line where they had a couple of the Alien, like the Nostromo, and what was the other thing called?
Those are like Hot Wheels scale.
Yeah, well, they're not even hot. They're bigger than that. I've got the Space Jockey upstairs. That's the only one I've picked up so far. But they're pretty decent size. They're probably maybe 4 or 5 times bigger than the Hot Wheels. But they've got some of the Terminator vehicles coming that I actually painted while I was there. So
nice.
those are supposed to be hitting sometime soon. Like the tanker, there was a tanker, and then like a flying machine. I can't remember the names of them now, but
cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know when they're supposed to be coming.
Yeah, this would be good for MSD. Hopefully, somebody like Muhammad will pick those up. He always does really cool MSD shows.
Yeah, have them sitting in the background somehow.
Yeah.
Have a couple endoskeletons walking around.
Nice. Yeah, it's too bad that you're always so busy because it'd be cool to see you doing some ACBA.
Yeah, I need to get back into it and see my desk. I've kind of changed some things around since I started working with NECA. I had one desk that was like my customizing desk. It's where I sculpted, painted. Everything was done at that desk. Then I had a second desk that was set up for my pictures, ACBA, all that good stuff. And I've actually moved everything around, to where I've got the chair sitting in between the two desks, so I can kind of just spin in my chair, and I'm using one desk for strictly sculpting, and then the other desk behind me is my paint table. So I've kind of moved some things around, so now I don't technically have a designated place to take pictures anymore. So I need to figure something out for that.
What diorama ideas that you've been kind of thinking about doing down the road?
Gosh, I haven't really thought about doing any, honestly.
Yeah, because that house, was it Jason? No.
Michael Myers.
There you go, Michael Myers.
Yeah, and I do still have that.
Nice.
Yeah, that's sitting in my room. I've actually I've been wanting to do a picture with the Wet Bandits from Home Alone.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to do like a shot of them, like sitting at the front of the house, or like at the end of the sidewalk, kind of looking at the house, like that was going to be like their next hit or something like that.
Yeah,
But
cool.
yeah, I've kind of been playing around with an idea with that, and maybe Michael, peeking around a bush or so, I don't know, but yeah, just to kind of get a picture of that back out there, because I haven't posted anything of that since I finished that, and that was like October of 2014, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's been a while since that's even been seen.
I don't remember. Did you build that entirely from scratch, or did you take like an existing dollhouse and modify it?
No, that was completely from scratch. It's foam and like balsa wood and
Wow.
yeah. What happened was how it started was I had gotten the Halloween box set that NECA did back in, I think it was 2002, and it came with Michael Myers, the doctor. Why can't I think of his name? Gosh, it's gonna kill me. But whatever the psychiatrist, his doctor.
Mm.
So it was the two of them, and then it came with the front porch with like a little grassy area, some leaves and stuff like that. First, I was going to use that front porch to kind of build from or build off of that and build the house. But the front porch, it was real narrow. It wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be. So I just kind of started using that as kind of just reference. I measured it, found out what the height was of the front porch, and so I made my front porch the same height. Same with the steps. I measured them out, and so yeah, everything for that house was scratch built. I built that in about 3 weeks, I think, is what it was.
Wow. That's
yeah.
It's amazing.
Oh, and that was like pulling all-nighters, and it was one of those things where it was like I just dove head first into it. I didn't know how it was going to turn out at first, but it was like, all right, let's do it. But yeah, I did. I got kind of drawn into that one and couldn't stop until it was finished.
It's an amazing amount of work in such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And to do it, mostly from scratch, and not even as a commission, just because you wanted to do it. That's crazy.
Yeah, and we'll see. And Randy, I took that up there to NECA one of the times I visited, and he says if they can ever get the license for the Halloween films, he wants to use that for like packaging shots and stuff, show on the internet and all that stuff. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so I'd love for him to finally get that license. And supposedly there's talk of like a new director for I forget what it was. The company that owned the rights to the film sold it or something like that. So I'm hoping if that's the case, maybe Randy can get in with this new company and hopefully get those rights back, because we need a new articulated Michael Myers.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and if you get the Dio in any kind of packaging shots, definitely hit up Boog before and say, try to have him talk to Randy and say, hey, can we get an ACBA logo on there too?
Yeah, that would be cool.
Get some cross promotion going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because we would promote the shit out of that.
Yeah.
It's like, Randy, you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours, man.
Right. Yeah, I really hope that's like the only person they've got left from all the major horror films. They've done Leatherface, Freddy Krueger. It's like how many Freddy Kruegers have we gotten? We've gotten quite a few of them.
Same with Jason.
Yeah, Jason. That was the other one I was thinking. I was like, I know there's another one that they've done.
Yeah, they've done almost every single Jason movie now.
Yeah, exactly. And they're working on another one now. They showed his mask or something like that. That I think they showed that on Twitter a couple months back.
Punker Mike Punker Mike can't wait for the Jason in space figure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The college girls in the sleeping bags? Heck yeah.
I don't know if that one's coming or not.
I'm surprised they haven't done
Jason
Mike Myers.
Yeah,
I'm
and
surprised.
I know he was talking with them. Yeah, I want to say it was earlier this year. It might have been late last year. But it fell through when they couldn't settle on prices or something like that. I remember him posting that up on Twitter, and just said it wasn't going to work out at that time. So yeah, hopefully, like I said, now that I remember reading something about it being sold, and then everybody was asking Randy that on Twitter. Hey, now that the movie's in somebody else's hands, what are the chances? And so we'll see. I really hope, because like I said, that he's my favorite. That's the one I've Freddy Krueger was cool. Honestly, I haven't seen all of the films. I want to say I've only seen 1 and 2 and maybe parts of 3. Same with Jason. I don't think I've seen all of them either. I think I've only seen up to like the third one. So yeah, Halloween was my favorite.
Yeah, now there's going to be even more pressure put on Randy to since they made a Hot Toys John Connor, the John Connor kid from T2. There's going
Right.
to be more pressure now for NECA to make that.
Yeah. Was it Hot Toys? I didn't even pay attention to who was making it. I didn't know if it was Hot Toys or if it was like an off company or whatever.
Punker Mike, do you know?
I'm not 100% sure, and
I just
Yeah, I
know
can't
it's
remember.
it was definitely in a 1/6 scale though. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure who was making it. It was probably Hot Toys.
Yeah, because it showed it came with the endoskeleton arm and the glass tube, and yeah,
Yeah.
which Randy had showed a picture of a prototype one that they were making.
Yeah, it's
I
got
don't
to
know.
come, man. That's got
Yeah,
to come eventually.
it was the endoskeleton arm and like a little plastic glass tube, and so I don't know if that was hints to a John Connor or what. So that would be really cool.
Yeah, we
And
got to get that. It's got to come. Just because we have every character from the movie, you need him to complete it. And plus, everybody wants that. And that actor,
Yep.
Edward Furlong, I mean, that guy probably needs money. He would jump on
Yeah, he
it. I'd
probably
assume he would jump on a contract like that. I don't see him
Because
pulling a Jack
anytime,
Nicholson.
anytime you ever see him, it's because he got arrested or something.
Yeah, he looks rough.
Yeah, man.
I'm sure he'd take a payday having a figure that looks really good.
Heck yeah.
and then it would be a slam dunk easy SDCC exclusive to give him the dirt bike.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Ooh, that'd be
Or
tight.
even if they did that as like a box set, on the store shelves. I mean,
You give
bump it up a little bit.
yeah, you put Furlong on the dirt bike and then Terminator on the Harley.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
you get
see,
you get Furlong on the dirt bike with that redheaded mullet kid sitting bitch on the back of the dirt bike.
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I wonder where that
Yeah, see,
redheaded kid.
the hard thing. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I wonder where that redheaded kid is now.
He was
Yeah, I
on
don't
a
know.
'90s show called Salute Your Shorts on Nickelodeon.
Yep.
He was
Yeah,
the
he
bully.
was.
He was what's his name, like Buckus or something like that.
Yeah.
Still had that fucking red mullet for sure.
And what was the big kid? Donkey Lips.
Donkey Lips. You know what's funny? You know what's funny about Donkey Lips is that they had an exclusive, like he had got every episode Salute Your Shorts, like that they either had on VHS or that he filmed, like his parents probably filmed because he was in the show, and he made bootleg copies of the whole season, of the
Oh,
whole
wow.
series, and he was selling them on eBay for $25, and he was doing it in his garage. So I was like, fuck, I'm gonna buy one, dude. Like, hell yeah. Shitty quality. He gave me a headshot. He signed it, and it was all cut crooked, and like, and it was all grainy. Like he had printed it out at home. It was like super grainy. It was like this. It was like a whole
Wow.
package deal. Like you get like a little mini like wallet size picture that he signs, and like an 8x10 that he signs, the DVD, and like everything was like printed out all grainy. This shit was fucking hilarious. I seen him at a con, and I was like, oh man, I should bring it and have him sign it and like talk to him about it. But I was like, nah,
Does it still look the same?
exactly the same,
That's
just older. Fucking donkey lips.
Donkey lips.
You guys are talking a whole other language. I was in the army in the 90s. I didn't have time. I wasn't watching any TV.
Yeah, that was that was like a Nickelodeon show, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on Nickelodeon in
Yeah.
like the mid '90s, like early
Yeah.
mid '90s.
Kids show.
Pete and Pete,
Yeah, Adventures of Pete and Pete. Hell yeah.
and what was it? Are You Afraid of the Dark? And
Oh, that's it. That one's good right there.
yeah.
How old
Yeah,
are
I
you?
used to
Aaron?
always watch that. I'm 31. I'll be 32 in September.
Okay, so you got a few years on Punker Mike.
Yeah, I was born in '84.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so
I was in sixth grade.
what in '84?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
No, I think I was in fifth grade, and the sixth graders were rocking. They were rocking parachute pants with the bandanas wrapped around them. 'Cause they were trying to emulate Van Halen.
Yep.
Yeah.
They had the jean jackets with the big patches on the back, and
Yeah. Sleeveless shirts.
oh yeah, Punker Mike would have fit in perfect.
Yeah, that's my people right there.
Yeah.
that's your tribe.
Hell yeah.
So my first action figures were the Turtles, from back then. Like I think they were like '88 and '89. I think they first came out in '88.
Yeah.
So those were my first action figures. That and then '89 came, and the '89 Keaton Batman movie, that came out. That was my favorite movie. And,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I had Toy Biz actually at that time was making DC figures.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked up the Joker, Batman, Bob. They actually made Bob from the movie.
Hell yeah, that Bob was sick. Give him that hat, big ass knife.
Yeah, and didn't he do like a karate chop or something like that?
I think he sliced. He sliced the knife down or something.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Still have
Yeah,
that Bob
he
figure.
held. I've got him upstairs, up in the attic.
It's badass too, because on his bomber jacket, he even has that little Joker on his chest, like the little Joker symbol with the bullseye. I thought that was badass.
Yep.
I was like, dang.
See, and I don't think mine has that. I think mine's all rubbed off. But
Oh yeah,
I remember
mine's
seeing
rubbed off too.
Yeah. But yeah, I had all those, the Wonder Woman, they had a Joker that came out, and he had the flower, on his lapel or whatever, on his jacket. Yeah, the water. And Mr. Freeze. Yeah, Mr. Freeze, you could throw him in the freezer, and his suit would turn like an ice blue color. So those were those were my first action figures, back in the day. And of course, then you get out of it. You don't collect anymore once you go through, that's kid stuff. But yeah, I started collecting again I started getting serious about collecting in like 2008. I had a few, before that, I would pick up a few of the Spawn statues that McFarlane was doing, but I actually got back into really collecting 2008.
Yeah, that was. I think you and I mentioned this when I interviewed you, that I started getting serious into collecting about that same time when the first Iron Man movie came out.
Yep. Yeah, and that's when I don't even really know how it started. I tried to think about that back when we did that interview last time, and it was like I remember seeing the Iron Man movie, and actually my parents had seen it first. They saw it before I did, and Dad called me that night, and he was like, "You got to go see Iron Man. It's so cool." And my favorite band is AC/DC, and he was like, "It's got AC/DC songs all through it." And I'm like, "All right, cool." So I went and saw it, and for some reason, I remember going to Walmart, and I was walking down through the toy aisles, and I was like, "Oh, there's the Iron Man, figure." so I picked that up, and that's kind of how it all started. And not long after that, I found Figure Realm on the internet, and ended up, seeing that people were customizing toys, and I'm like, what is this? So that just kind of opened up a whole new realm for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
And where did you go to first? I guess did Figueroa, did they talk about like techniques, or like did you?
Yeah, there
where
was
did you,
a
where did,
there was a technique. See, and I haven't been to Figure Realm in forever. Um, and I heard that last I heard they kind of changed the web page around and all that stuff. But I don't remember my name, or well, actually my username I think was AW Custom Designs. But I don't know. I should go back in there and look around. But yeah, there was a technique portion on the side of the page, and it had different things like paint techniques, and which was like pretty much just showing you how to dry brush and how to do a wet wash. And that was pretty much it. It told you different how to crack a figure open, or how to remove the arm, and and so I learned a little bit that way, like using heat on the figure, to pop limbs off and take them apart and all that good stuff. But I've always been into some form of art. When I was a kid, I always drew pictures, and it eventually got into, like I worked for my dad. This isn't really an art form, I don't consider, but I guess it kind of is. But my father, he owns his own company, and he does like bathtub refinishing and repairs, and he does all that for he does all that for actual like construction sites. So before people move into a home, he goes in and fixes a chip in the tub that somebody dropped a hammer in. So I worked for him for a long time. So I learned, how to use an airbrush and stuff like that. From there, I got into actual airbrushing, motorcycles and helmets, and doing that as kind of like an art form, painting motorcycle fenders and stuff. And I've always done something, so it was easy for me to kind of dive into the customizing world, and it was just kind of like my niche, So, cool. But yeah, and I mean, just a lot of the stuff is just trial and error. You screw it up, and if you screwed it up too bad, you got to start over. And or you learn how to fix your screw up. Which is even better if you can do that. So.
Cool. That's nice that you have that foundation to build on, and also it's cool hearing that your dad is kind of a geek too, and turned you on to turned you on to the Iron Man movie.
Yeah, those are his favorite. I mean, he looks forward to. I mean, and he's never read a comic book in his life. He had toys, when he was younger. Like back when he was younger, they had the 12-inch GI Joes. They were the hot toys of then. They had the real clothing and all that good stuff. So, but yeah, he when Iron Man came out, I mean, he fell in love with the Marvel movies. He was like, oh, it was, So he's ever since then he's looked forward to the next one. When's Civil War coming out on Blu-ray? And I'm like, I don't know. But yeah, he's always. And then he comes to me all the time, with questions, and I can't answer them all the time, because I don't read comic books. I mean, I read them sometimes, like I've read a few of the Deadpool stuff, and some Batman books and stuff like that, but I've never gotten real big into comics. So a lot of what I know, of the comics is just hearing what everybody is talking about on Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much where I get all of my knowledge from. Just you know, just talking with people.
Yeah. I wasn't a huge comic book fan either growing up, and then I've gone back and read a lot of stuff, and so um, yeah, it's nice to have digital comics now, so that you have that option. You don't have to go digging for stuff.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I know.
And see, I've never done. I do know a few people. That's the only way that they read the comics. They get on YouTube and read them that way. And I don't know. I like picking up certain ones. Like, oh, excuse me. I got quite a few of the Deadpool books. I haven't read all of them. I really probably the ones that like I said, I haven't read very many, but my favorite books that I probably read were some of the Batman books, like Long Halloween. That was just an awesome book. There was another one that I read that was sweet. I don't know, but yeah, I like the grittiness of some of the Batman books. They're just they're always dark but
Hunker
some
Mike,
of the Deadpool.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say some of the the Deadpool books are fun to read, but that's kind of what they are. They're just fun.
Yeah.
I got kind of tired of reading, the joking and the humor and stuff like that. I wanted something that was kind of, more real and serious, and so that's what led me to picking up a couple of the Batman books, and yeah, I love those.
Hunker Mike, are you a fan of the DC, or I should say the Batman comics?
I have some Batman books that I've read, but I'm not really too big into DC.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like the Joker.
Right.
I have some of his old, like the old little series, like in the '70s and stuff like that. A little cheesy. But nah, I usually stick with Marvel or just like random independent stuff. Like how I'm really into the Humans. Like that's what I'm like really into right now. Like Tank Girl's really cool. Kind of like just the random stuff like that.
I have to. Yeah, I gotta start reading the Humans, man. That looks so good.
They have the trades for $10. So if you're ever at a comic shop, pick up the trade. It's only $10, and it has all the issues.
How many is in a trade?
I believe, because I think because right now the Humans, it was only 1 through 10 or 11. I think like 10, and it's the series is done for right now. So I think it was 5 and 5. The first trade, you get issue number 0, which was like a limited 500 copy release to select comic stores. It was kind of just like a preview launch kind of thing. And then they have extras in the trade, just like artwork, character bios, and kind of just different stuff on the different gangs in the book, like the different biker gangs.
Mm-hmm.
But for $10, I mean it's a pretty good deal. And like I don't know, like me, I like physical stuff to hold and look at.
So like I'm looking on Amazon right now. It says the Humans Volume 1, Humans TP.
Should be yellow. Should be yellow, like a yellow cover.
It says with Prime it's only $6.40.
Pick it up, dude. Get the red one too. Second one.
It says Volume 2, Humans Till Death, DETH, and that's $11.40 with Prime.
Yeah, just pick them up, man. They're cheap.
Nice. Yeah. The artwork looks really dope on those.
Yeah, artwork's amazing. Yeah, so that run's done, and the next one is gonna be they're gonna be in prison. So like, not gonna spoil anything, but like at the end of this series, like a couple of the guys end up going to jail, and so now they're doing like a perspective of them surviving in like a gnarly prison. So that shit should be fucking intense. It's gonna be savage. I can't wait. It's called The Jungle, so it's not gonna be the Humans. It'll be The Jungle, but it's like the same. It's kind of like the same characters. It's just like a new arc in the story.
So you're saying this yellow one should include issue 0?
It's gonna have issue 0, and then it should have like extra artwork and like some of like probably the original sketches, I believe, and then it has kind of just like some of the characters. It tells you like their specialties, their height, their attributes and stuff, and kind of like shit like that.
Cool.
Yeah, it's badass.
Aaron, do you have a favorite comic book artist, or just like regular artists in general, like illustrators or sculptors or?
You're good.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, I really like Alex Ross. Just because he does the realism. I honestly don't know if he's doing much comic. Is he doing any comic book work anymore? I mean, I don't know if y'all know or not, but
Not sure.
I want to say he did some of the. Didn't he do some? I want to say he might have done some of the variant covers for the newest The Dark Knight Returns 3 books. I think he did some of the variants for that. I could be wrong, but anyways, yeah, I really liked Alex Ross. Jim Lee. Of course he's a lot of people's favorites. But yeah, I mean, I never really, like I said, I never really got into the comic books until a lot later, so I didn't pay much attention to a lot of the art, or artists that were drawing the books.
What about just artists in general, not necessarily comics, but like painters or art, like illustrators?
Yeah. I can't really think of anybody off the top of my head, to be honest. I never really paid much attention to stuff like that, really. I mean, Todd McFarlane, he did a lot of cool drawings. I mean, he did a lot of stuff, and I do remember looking at a lot of his stuff, like when I would draw, and but yeah, I mean, I never really paid much attention to like who drew what and different artists like that. Yeah, I can't really answer that.
No worries. Well, it's probably pretty late for you on the East Coast.
Yeah, what is it? Yeah, a little after 2 here.
Wow. So we'll wrap things up. Thank you so much for coming on the show with us.
Yeah, not a problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, definitely. When you're after you've worked on some more projects, we'd love to hear about how it's working out with NECA.
Yeah, sounds good. Like I said, they've got a couple things that I've worked on, and I'm in the process of something else now, and I know I've got a potential other project after this one, so we'll see when this one gets finished and see where we're at. But yeah, so right now they're keeping me busy.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, we can't wait to see the stuff that you're working on.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be out soon.
All right, thanks again, Aaron, and until next time, we'll triple see you later.
All right, man. Thank you. See y'all later.